back to the crane. Now we're going to slew right, or sorry, that's left. Nice and slow. And we will need to bring our hook up some. And boom up just a little bit. Slew just a little bit more and get the hook rotation aligned a little bit better. See, with most of my mods, the arrow points to the flat side of the hook. And all right, looks like we're pretty good right there. So we're going to attach the pipe. Now we're going to lift it up. So we can clear the walkway. And I don't believe I calculated right. We're not going to quite make it. That was very close. All right. Well, in this instance, I cannot put the pipe back. So what we're going to do is we're going to, based on the way I made it, there should be a hole in the collision. Granted, I know it's not realistic. But we're going to slew it left. Sorry, yeah, left crane wise. And I'll get it out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to crawl backwards. Gotta get the tracks aligned again. Crawl backwards. Rotate right as we're going. Sorry, camera right, but crawler crane left. What we're going to do is we're going to bring this pipe down in that clear area down below. Okay, that should be good enough space for us to slew left a little bit more. Now the weight is going against us. There we go. That made those loads slewing. Got control of the load. All right. Get control of the load again. Cancel out that swing. There we go. Now we can lower it down. This is the fun part, just sitting and getting it lowered. I'm going to boom out to get space to lower it down in, because as we lower, because I don't have a setup for lowering or making this horizontal again. I've got all that set up for the scrubber. Okay. Wait for that. All right, so now I'm going to slowly boom up and continue lowering. Oop, a little bit too fast on the boom up. I have not done this very much as far as, especially with this piece. I actually didn't design this piece to be laid over, so we'll see how it behaves. It may not behave very well. Yeah, it's not behaving well. It's lifting the crane up, which wouldn't happen. And also in real life, that rigging would be staying straight above the pipe, not going at an angle like this. It's partially the way we had to do form sim, and partially the way I have this piece set up. I need a special tool to be able to lay things flat. So, like I said, I didn't design this piece to be able to do that. I just designed it to be able to take it off. So that's something I can update, make it to where you can actually lay it flat. All right, so now we've got that. I'll detach it, go hook back up. And we'll get the crane in position to take off the platforms. And then we'll get the first piece of the scrubber. But yes, this is what I do. I have fun making the simulation models for everybody and testing them, and then letting you guys test them. And it does take time, as you can see. One thing, so with the cranes that I do, you will notice that the speed of the hook raising and lowering, as well as how far it will raise and lower, will change depending on how many lines that you have. And that's to mimic the real life limit on how much cable or wire rope can actually be fit onto the winch. Liebherr has a document that, in their documentation, they say exactly how much wire rope is on each winch. And so the more times you go from the winch to the tip of the boom, back down to the hook, back up. So the more times you go up and down from the boom nose down to the hook and back up, the more you do it, the slower the hook's going to go, because the winch, how fast the winch is getting pulled is getting divided by how many lines you have. This also allows you to lift more because you have more lines. So the more lines you have, the more you can lift, but also the slower it goes because the winch is having to pull in that much more wire rope. All right, so now we should be able to start getting this slewed back into position, get the tracks realigned. We'll get the crane back into its lift position. All right, I'm going to boom out. So the maximum boom angle I'm using is about 85 degrees, and when I'm booming out, especially for the scrubber pick, will be at about 76, 77 degrees. getting the ballast wagon wheels oriented right again so we can travel just the last little bit without hitting that support crane. Alright, I'm going to zoom in. Alright, I'm going to slew the crane again. So I got to get the ballast wagon wheels in orientation again. There we go. When you have the ballast wagon, it's all about getting those wheels in the right position. Okay. All right. So you can see the arrow here. That's for lifting this section of the platform. So we're going to have to adjust our angle again. And the marks for the ballast wagon, those are for the main critical lifts, not these smaller lifts, taking the components off. Alright, so I'm also going to have to rotate the hook to align. There we go. Boom down a little bit more. Get the hook aligned with. Okay, we're pretty close. Still not quite where we need to be. There we go, getting there. Slow this a little bit. Bring this down. We're pretty close. Alright, there we go. We have the indicator saying we can attach. So we're going to attach. Now we need to back off. So boom up. Alright, so I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe my collisions are grabbing the scrubbing section. Because obviously in real life it's not going to be rotating around like that. So this is something that I've got. There we go. There we go. There's the platform free. Now we're going to track back to the open area you see in the lower right. start lowering. We're going to be starting to clear. Sorry, I'm watching, trying to keep the tracks aligned, and I'm throwing my load around. There we go. And crunch go those legs in real life. All right, platform is down. We go back up. Gonna slew the crane. Rotate the ballast wagon wheels. Excuse me. And begin the crawl back. one more piece and we can remove the scrubber top. So the center of gravity of this next piece is just about where that arrow is, so that's where we're going to attach. And this one we're going to be pulling it off down to the lower left of the camera view, and then lifting it up and over, I believe. Okay. Get the ballast wagon wheels aligned for rotation or slewing. Alright, now we're going to get the hook aligned, or the boom aligned. There we go. Now we can boom out. That's really, really close. Okay. Now we're gonna I don't think we're going to have the clearance to get that. But that's why we do simulation. Yep. You do simulation so you can see where your issues are going to rise up. And here with the boom, I've selected where the crane is sitting, which the tracks aren't aligned, but they're still over top of where the original lift was planned. This will work for the main lift, but is not working for getting the ancillary pieces off. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of this, I'm going to go ahead and remove these from the game and remove the pipe there. Okay, so now we got a clear lift for the rest of our critical lift itself. So we're going to get the crane into position, get the secondary or the boom nose hook out and away. Get the crane back into position. For some reason, my boom nose hook is not following as it should. Either that or the spreader bar is not following the way it should. I'm guessing this is why they would not rig up unless you're rigging with both hooks and lifting with both hooks at the same time. Sorry about that. Alright, just about in the right position. Yep, there's the tracks in the right position. I just gotta get this hook right. Alright, that hook's out of the way. Now we can lower our main hook. Get the crane back in the right position for the lift. Almost there. Okay. Alright, now slew us back in the right spot. And there we go. Alright. Let's lower the hook. Alright, I'm gonna have to rotate the hook. I know you don't have to rotate it in real life like this, but because it's a simulation, you gotta do some things differently. Let's get the hook down. Alright, we're pretty close to the attachment point. Need to finish rotating the hook. Because the scrubber moved when I was moving the platform, the hook actually aligns with this, which in the original position would have given clearance with the main boom. But because that rotated, I now do not have clearance with the spreader bar, and that my crane is traveling sideways. Sorry, I was hearing something on my other computer. Okay. Boom down. Sorry, hook down. Boom down just a little bit. And attach. And it did that because the hook and the spreader bar were a little bit too low, which is a better option than it being too high, because then you'd actually be lifting up the entire structure here. Okay. Now I've got to get hook, hook, hook. Okay, so we're going to get the hook back over the top. Hook back over the CG. Start lifting a little bit. Okay. There we go. Gonna lift a little bit. Now I gotta rotate to get that clearance that we originally had on the boom. Okay. I'm gonna slowly rotate out, or slew out. Uh-oh. Yeah, we don't need that swing. That's not good. And because of the ballast wagon, I'm not getting the swing on here as I should. this canceled out now. Got a lot more of it canceled out now. Okay, time to get the tracks back in position so I can finish rotating. Now I'll slew right, nice and easy. Here we are, 50 minutes into it. Takes a while. Well, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. All right, time to get the ballast wagon wheels lined up right. Thanks, Bobby. I will do that. Got your message on my phone. All right. So now, gonna lower the load. Keep it nice and close to the as close to the ground as possible. Not gonna get it below our mount for the SPMT, but we are gonna get it closer. All right. A lot of swing could also be due to, I'm using an Xbox controller, so it's not quite as sensitive as a joystick. But any swing like that, especially with a load like this, you'd be doing some damage. So let's see if I can, I forget what the term is called when you're canceling out the swing. It's not going to do it because I don't have the ballast wagon set up right. Okay. Ballast wagon wheels back to slewing. I don't use the ballast wagon very often, but when you have to travel with big loads like this, from what I understand, the ballast wagon is needed to help reduce ground pressure and keep things more stable. Okay. So you can see I'm sort of swinging opposite the way the crane is. I mean, sorry, the load is. So if it's swinging right, actually I'm swinging the same way. So if it's swinging left, nope, I got it right. I had it right the first time. So if it's swinging right on the screen, I'm swinging left. If it's swinging, so if I'm swinging right, I'm now swinging left. It's starting to swing left, so I'm going a little bit right. You can see I'm slowly getting that swing out. It's a pendulum effect that you're trying to get out. Okay, that's close enough. Just keep getting this load lowered. And I'll do a Q&A at the end. Coldfire had a good idea and suggested that through Facebook Messenger to me. So I'm pivoting the track so I can try to get back into the right position once I've got the load closer to the ground. We still have another crane lift to do at the other end. I have a feeling it's probably out of position. Actually, no, it's actually doing pretty good. So the reason why the crane rotates a lot is because when you, with farm sim, balances everything. With the load, it's not doing it as much, but if you noticed when I didn't have the load on it, it was doing a lot of skating around. And the reason for that is because, so you have your crane weight, the mass of the crane here, right, for the most part, and then you have these two ballast consoles here, which have a lot of weight hanging off the back. Then again, we also have the derrick or the ballast wagon with a lot of weight hanging off the back, and so the crane without the load is not really balanced. With the ballast tray, you can disconnect it a lot quicker. You can raise it and lower it as you need it to get the crane to be balanced. But it's a lot harder to do with the ballast wagon itself. All right, so now we're almost in the right position. Just a little bit more and we will be right where we need to be. Okay, so this is where we need to be for this part. Now what we need to do is come to the SPMT. Now we're going to move the SPMT underneath the load. And finish lowering it down. That is swinging a lot. Now I'm about to cancel out that swing. SPMT a little bit better aligned. Should be right there. Okay, back to the crane. Alright, so now we can lower. You can see this hook is moving a lot slower than the 4-line hook. This is the max. This is max speed, I guess you could say, call it, if you wanted to call it. There's probably a technical term that I do not know yet. Alright, so we're getting much closer. Now we can attach the SPMT. Alright. So now I need to get the other SPMT out of the way. I'm not sure if it's going to do it exactly the way it should, but basically what should be happening is once I start, these should be going back and I will be lowering this. It may not happen exactly the way we want. Yeah, it's not. So what I'm going to do, so this SPMT is really just a trailer, and so it doesn't drive itself. At least I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So we're just going to give it a little bit of a nudge. Super strength to start it moving to where it should. Because what's happening is it needs the wheels to start moving, but as you can see, the wheels are not. The wheels will move if the crane moves, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep the crane positioned in one spot. Yeah. Or I need to figure out a way of doing this in multiplayer so that this is not directly attached to the crane, but they use another method to do it. And then you can have one person driving the SPMT. That's still not. They still keep coming it out, bringing it out. Basically, just imagine this SPMT getting pulled back. As you can see, we start getting an angle on it. These should actually be going straight up. So we'll see if that's still not as bad. But so now we lower. It looks like the rigging is not rotating the way it was before. This part of it's doing well. It's It's just the rigging's not rotating like it was during testing. Because what should be happening is this should be this should be allowing it to rotate around, and it's not. It's doing like the same thing that the pipe did, but that's not what I designed it for. So the lift's not going to go the way it should have. We're also running out of room. Hey, look, it's starting to move. That is good. Because the rigging's not behaving the way it should, it's going to put this way too close to the crane for where it should be doing. Because we should have had it, based on my planning, we should have had plenty of room. The SPMTs would be right here with the hook going straight down over top of this. And it would have worked out quite well. But now, it's alright. So you wouldn't do this in real life, but you would need that because of this issue. I'm have to boom up to get it to keep the hook above the lift point, which the lift point shouldn't be changing like that. So what would be happening, what should be happening is these should be going straight up. But as you can see, it's not doing that. So something happened between the last time I tested and now. Alright, we can still execute the lift. Alright, boom is as high as it's going to go. Excuse me. And you can see the SPMT is now starting to roll out, but it should have done it when this was vertical. So this, sorry, that's really irritating me. Because of that, this is now going to go into the, you can see there's plenty of room, so these are closer than they should have been, because the crane would have been dropping this roughly right here, which would have had plenty of clearance, bring this down, this would have gone straight in, no issues, but because of this, and farms and physics, this is forcing everything to go out farther than it should have. And I can't fix it because if I reset this, it's going to reset the crane, and then we have a spaceship. Alright. So I'll just keep going and show the other part of the lift. Actually, yeah, I hope I can show the other part of the lift. Okay, let's get the SPMT in position. Finish lowering. And what you'll see is, because once I get this down and detached, that this is going to swing forward, or swing towards the crane. Okay. So now, and I just killed my crane operator. Alright, so now we can go in here. We can attach the scrubber unit. Now what we need to do, before we can move this out, we're going to move the crane out of the way. So to do that, we will be slewing left again. Just gonna back it from there. Get the tracks aligned so we're going the right direction. And back us out. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. Alright, that should be out of the way where we planned it. Now to get into the SPMT, get the correct steering program. Okay, so now we take the load, start angling out. Should be able to go straight out from here. And my pickup's in the way. Let me get the truck out of the way. Little details. There's things like this that the simulation allows you to really think about before you hit a real lift. here. Get aligned a little bit better. And let's see if we can get the rear to swing. There we go. Let's get up the ramp. So due to the way I had to do the other SPMTs in the rear, they're acting more like trailers, and so their wheels will swing wherever they want. So I'm not actually controlling those wheels. Those are just swinging based off of where they feel they need to swing, so it's not as controlled movement as I have with the front. I've got a few ideas of how to get that working. I haven't had a chance to implement that yet and try it out. So especially with a big piece like this, it looks like they're swinging a little bit more. It works really, really well when they're attached directly to here, but there's a lot of momentum built up going up from that far away. Okay, so now let's start crawling over. Okay, so we're almost in position. Just gotta get the rear swung around. All right. Now we can get in this crane, get it back in position. See how when you don't have the weight, when you have the weights, you've got the weights off the back, and so it's bringing it backwards. That's something I'm continuously working on getting fixed. Every iteration gets better, but so far I haven't been able to get it completely out. Gonna get that hook up so we're not going across the lines. One thing I did not account for on the scrubber section is if I put it down upside down onto the SPMTs. So in real life, there may not be a difference between one side and the next, but because of the way I have to do attacher joints, it might make a difference between if I can actually attach to it or not. If I cannot, then I think I have a way. I'll show you the fix real quick, because I can do that real quick. and I can refresh the SPMTs here, and it shouldn't be an issue. What's the issue is refreshing the crane, especially when it's fully set up. It doesn't like that. All right. We just about have it in the right position. Gonna lower the hook. Let the riggers get their rigging done. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Nope, I think it's actually upside down. Okay, so let me get the model up real quick. Nope, not the pipe. Scrubber top. Okay, so we got lift point H. I'm gonna duplicate that. Rotate it 180 degrees on the Y. And make it go there. So this is gonna be lift point H 0.002. Now go into scrubber top pipe. Nope, not the pipe. Scrubber unit 3 top. I'll take this, copy it, 0.02. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 4. Okay, last step is to get the i3D mapping. Copy that. Replace this, save it, go back into the game, into the simulation. Okay, so now we're going to attach it. Reload. And detach it. Now we should be able to go back to the crane. We should see a attacher joint. Should be there. Okay, that is the top. There it is. There we go. I hide them when they get too far away. That way, if you're taking a nice screenshot, it's not there. But when you're trying to find it, it makes it a lot more difficult if you can't see it. Okay, so now we're going to raise it up. No, I can't have it that far away. I need to adjust how far away it actually is so we can get the right angles on our that's what I did. So 4.6 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. That should be much better. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. Now we'll have a really good sling angles. But we should still be able to lift it up high enough. That can't be right. Hold on. Yeah, it's still way too high. Need to rotate my axles on the wheels on the ballast wagon so I can rotate a little bit. Or slew. There we go. There we go. Just gotta get the right point, the right height to attach. So we're right over the hook attach point. Now we just need to go up. There we go. So now we can get our attach point. Can raise our hook. Almost clear of the rear SPMTs. Gonna make sure the crane's doing okay. Well, we're almost in that. That's just due to it sliding around with me getting the load ready. Keep lifting to clear the telephone poles or the telephone wires. Right about there, I believe. All right. Get the ballast wagon wheels where they're supposed to be. Start crawling backwards. Very, very, very slowly. Loads doing well. Oops. Good, nice clearance. Almost in the right slewing position. It's wiggling a little bit. We'll get that corrected here in a sec. All right. Get the balance wagon wheels back in the right orientation for slewing. All right. Now we can begin slewing. Oop. Always nice and easy. And so now that we're out here, those other SPMTs would be able to go back, and that crane over there would be able to be moving the second piece, and then lower it down onto the SPMTs as they get back. That way each machine is being used as efficiently as possible. Okay, there we go. We can start lowering it down, then we'll get the SPMTs in a little bit better position once we know closer to where they're going to be. Because I didn't, I should have marked out their ending position. That would have made it a lot easier. And the crane is still crawling. There we go. Get it back into position. All right, now we're going to get the SPMT into position. I know the cradles are colliding with each other. In real life, you would be able to move the two SPMTs on the right together, paired with the way that the SPMTs are designed. Due to farm sim, I had to make a few choices to get them working how I have them now. Okay. back to the crane, which has moved quite a bit. Time to get the scrubber realigned. Slowly getting there. All right, so we're getting pretty close. We can lower it down. A little bit too far. Nope. And that's because it's upside down. All right. I think I will end the simulation on that. So that's an issue. That's an error on my part. All right, Q&A time. Anybody got any questions? Did I bore you guys to death? All right, hold on. I just got to figure out how to bring you up to the stage. Found it. All right. I think you should be able to talk now. Maratz? Maybe? There we go. Hey, how are you today?
There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
So, any of these objects be released for public use then, or is this all stuff you're keeping private?
Everything you guys see will eventually be public at some point. Right after this, I'm gonna package it. I'm gonna fix the errors that I've seen in this simulation, and then it'll be released to the insider group.
All right.
The rest of the refinery is going to take a lot more time to put together the way it should be. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, awesome. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day and catch you in the Discord. Bye.